I'm going to hand over to Gillian Docherty, our Chief Commercial Officer. Our theme this month at Strathclyde is all about mental health and well-being at work. And Gillian's going to share a few insights about being passionate, looking at perspective and perseverance, and how that's influenced her in her journey and how it can help you go forward. Over to you, Gillian.
Thank you very much, Janice. Good evening, or good afternoon, how are we all doing? Excellent. Fantastic. Well, when Janice and the team invited me along to welcome you tonight and to share some thoughts, I jumped at the chance because I am really inspired by what everyone in this room does, what you do, what drives you through challenging times. And Janice asked me to share a little bit about my perspective, and I'd love to do that over the next few minutes. So, rewinding, for a good number of years ago, more than I care to remember, I grew up about 10 miles that way in a place called View Park. It's in the, for those that know SIND, it's in the 0 to 10 bracket. It's pretty working class. My dad was a welder and my mum was a cleaner, and I was the eldest of 3 children, and no one in my family had ever gone to university before. And I'll share a story about the night before my maths O-level, not the best preparation. And I was quite studious at school. Some might call me a wee swot, or that's what they did in Bethel, when you were any good. And you used to hide your intelligence, or if you were any good at something, you wouldn't put your hand up, and that's what it was. And the night before my maths O-level, my mum and I had a humongous row. I'm talking tears and tantrums, and that was just my mum. And you see, we were arguing about my future, and she said, and I said, Mum, I need to tell you that I'm going to leave school and become a ski instructor in the winter and a kayak instructor in the summer. And as mums in the west coast of Scotland often said, over my dead body are you going to do those things? You're going to university. You'll be the first in the family to do so, and that's what you're going to do. Needless to say, at 3 in the morning, we both finally get to bed. As I say, not the best preparation before your maths O-level. And as mums often are, she was right. And off I went to do a computer science degree when I finished school, and managed to join IBM as part of the milk round. And spent 22 years with IBM, from the dial-up modem era and pagers right through to artificial intelligence and connected smart cities, all the way through that journey. And I was very, very fortunate, because often you'll be told to follow your dreams. And as a 15-year-old, I thought my dream was to become a ski instructor and a kayak instructor. And I was lucky, IBM gave me a year sabbatical, and I went off around the world, skiing and kayaking and that. And I realised I didn't want to teach that stuff, I wanted to do it. And I remember doing a ski season in France, and from a small bedroom, opening the curtains, and it was a white out, and thinking, oh, thank God I don't need to go and teach snowplow. Because that's what I thought I wanted. And I was very fortunate enough to have a career that allowed me to go and test that later. So after a long 22 years at IBM, I got approached to become the first CEO of the Data Lab, an innovation centre that was just being set up. And I remember receiving the email from the recruiter on the Friday afternoon, and it was just before Christmas, and filed it away. It was year end, we were closing deals, it was very busy, and I looked at it in the January and I thought, that's not me, I can't do that. You know, it's a start-up mindset, entrepreneurial experience, growing teams, and I'd done bits of that, but it was in the context of a big corporate. And something happened at IBM that meant I called the recruiter on the day before it closed, or the weekend before it closed. And as a good recruiter, she refused to get off the phone unless I agreed to a plan. Because I went on to say, I don't think it's me. I'm looking at this list of skills you need, and I don't think it's me. He says, forget the job description, tell me about you, what do you do? What motivates you? What drives you? What's your passion? And I just talked about what I did and a little bit more about me, and that's when she refused to get off the phone unless I applied. So over the weekend I had to write my first CV in 22 years, my first covering letter in 22 years, and what did I do? I phoned a friend I phoned a couple of really trusted colleagues that I had to say, I'm going to do this. Can you help me over the weekend? Can you critique it? Because I've not done this for years and years and years, and I know I'm not going to get it right. And they, both colleagues and friends, rolled their sleeves up and helped me over the weekend. And then I applied, and the rest is history. I was very fortunate to work at the Data Lab and be their steward, almost the CEO, for over 7 years before joining Strathclyde last year. Now, you might wonder, yeah, but you haven't started your own thing, Gillian. Well, my husband has, and he runs his own specialist outdoor lighting company. And let's just say I'm his unpaid, but supportive partner who gets lots of jobs to do, no thanks, no shares, and supported him through that entrepreneurial journey, almost like a co-founder in all but title and remuneration. So, different perspectives. So, thinking about passion, perspective and perseverance, I thought it was just worth sharing that little journey with you in the context of some things I'm going to share. So passion, I would really encourage you to do something you truly believe in, something that motivates you. Those cold, dark, damp mornings when you need to get up and you're going through tough times, if you're really passionate about what you do, it'll be so much, much easier. So, I'm going to throw out lots of cliches. Sometimes the oldies are the goodies. Life is too short to do something you're not passionate about. So please, whatever you do in life, be passionate about what you're trying to do. Be creative and curious. As young children, we're very creative and curious, and unfortunately, it just gets knocked out of you. So I would encourage you, always be creative and curious. Don't lose the 4-year-old you. And as anyone that's had a toddler, ask why, and why again. So I'd encourage you, grasp and hold on to the inner 4-year-old. Keep asking the whys. Solve problems that matter to you as an individual, matter to the organisation you work in or for, to your city, your region, your country, to the world. Solve problems that matter. And that will help you with the passion and the drive and the perseverance that will get you through in those tougher times. So passion, I think, is critically important. And life absolutely is too short. Perspective. So I'm going back to a very young me in IBM, and I did something that I was distraught about and really upset. I'd worked on something for a long time and I made a mistake. And I was in bits. And a wonderful leader at the time shared the most fantastic piece of advice that I've held on to ever since, is this too shall pass. It's when you're in it and you're deep, deep in it, sometimes that's really hard to get a perspective on the bigger picture. And holding and grasping onto that, this too shall pass. I've found it really, really supportive over the years. And also surround yourself by good people, people you trust, people who will support you but challenge you, people who will give you motivation, people who will pick you up when times are tough. Surrounding yourself by good people, friends, family, colleagues, partners, they come from all walks of life. You've come across them in different guises, but surround yourself by really, really supportive people. Teamwork. Life's not a solo sport. Work is certainly not a solo sport. So the importance of teams, and particularly for our entrepreneurs who are building teams, really, really think about that teamwork, because it's diverse, curious, creative and brave teams that are innovating and inventing around the world right now. And to be really successful, you will need that team around you to do that. So embrace teamwork, throw yourself into it. Perseverance, resilience, probably a really, really hard thing. No matter what you do in life, personally and professionally, things are not going to go your way sometimes. Something you'd hoped and dreamed of is not going to happen. So you need to be prepared for that and build your resilience capability picking yourself up again and again and again. Ignore the naysayers, the people that tell you you can't, that's not for you. So be bold and brave, and pick yourself up and go again. And beyond the day job, perseverance and resilience is really, really important. And as you're building those teams, think about the environment you're creating for your colleagues and the environment that they work in that helps them build resilience and helps them be open and honest and the most constructive and supportive and contributing member of your team. Think of the environment you're creating, the permission to bring your whole self to work, the good and the bad, the good days, the horrible days. Think about how you communicate with your team so that it's okay not to be okay. And creating the environment that allows the people you work with to bring that. So communicating that. And if you can create that environment, guess what? Your team are going to be super motivated. They're going to understand where you're going, why you're going there, because you're solving problems that matter. You're creating an opportunity for them to do something they're passionate about. And you're creating an environment for them to be the best that they can be. So empowering your team is really, really important. But resilience is a funny thing because you've got to look after yourself before you can look after others. Another cheesy one-liner from the plane, put on your
life jacket.
Oxygen mask first. Exactly. Why do you put on your oxygen mask first? Because you're not good to help the person next to you if you're already gone. Yeah? I was reading a great crime novel this weekend and it was all kicking off. Somebody was racing into a burning inferno and it's like, stop. You can't save them and you're dead. So think about it. Put your oxygen mask on first. Look after yourself, whatever that may mean. And each one of us has different personal things that help us build resilience, whether it's going for a run, whether it's surrounding yourself with family, whether it's volunteering, whether it's taking yourself off for a quiet moment to build your energy reserves up. Think about what helps you build your resilience and helps you put your oxygen mask on. And then think about your team, because they will all have different things that helps them be resilient and persevere through tough times. So think about giving them the space to do that, whether it is exercise or support or social or quiet times. So I'd really encourage you to have a think and understand your team, what motivates them and where they get their inner strength from. Adaptability, be comfortable with change. I'm not going to make you many promises today. I'm not going to promise you'll run a $1 billion company, but I'll promise you one thing, it's change. Change is absolutely constant. The pace of technology and innovation is rising. You know that as well as I do. Today is the slowest day that will ever be again, because tomorrow will be fast, and the day after it will be even faster. So you need to be able to adapt, that constant rate of change, so be adaptable. But to be adaptable, you need to always be learning. You need to always be testing yourself, learning, whether that's in the organisation, in the market you're going after, the product you're developing, or the teams you work in. So it's always be learning. So I'm going to close with some short things. If you forget everything else I've told you, be bold, yeah. Be brave, be bonkers, yeah, bonkers. Steve Jobs once said, it's the people who think they can change the world that actually will. So be a little bit bonkers. But my final thing is be kind. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your people, your teams. If you think about, the colleagues you work in, we've all got them. Be in a good guy, call them. Yeah? Be kind and considerate. And that means being a really good human being, first and foremost. And I hope for you all success will come. So listen, thank you so much for listening. I hope we're going to have a wonderful evening. I'm really looking forward to seeing the presentations. Thank you very much.
And that's it for this episode of Inspiring Conversations. Please remember to subscribe through whatever platform you use, or check out our social media or find us on the University of Strathclyde website. Thank you very much.